Hi guys, it's Dr. Somji. I've got something really exciting to announce. The launch of my very own skincare, Dr. Somji Skin. I just want to reflect a little bit on how I reached this moment. As you guys all know, I'm a cosmetic surgeon with a background in general surgery. When I started my practice, I started to see a lot of patients with skin conditions. It then made me study further to gain a postgraduate in clinical dermatology, as well as a postgraduate in clinical education. Because hey, as you guys know, I'm so passionate about teaching. It's really helped me in my daily practice, and I've seen patients with all forms of dermatological conditions for more than a decade. And why did I want to create my own skincare? Well, there's been some great skincare brands out there, as you've seen in my numerous videos reviewing skincare brands, but sometimes they miss the mark. I wanted to reverse engineer a skincare brand based on what I see in my clinic. And you only go to clinics if high street brands or even medical skincare is not cutting the mustard. That's why you end up seeing a doctor like me. So I see the mistake that people have made with their skincare, and I reverse engineered it. So this is a specific skincare brand that can be as simple or as complicated as you like. It's based on conditions. It's based on knowing your skin. So if you have slight redness and sensitivity, there's specific boosters for that. If you have acne, even in specific areas of your face, you can target that too. Even if you have pigmentation, it can help. But everything is multitasking. You don't need to use 20 products within your skincare routine. It's really simple to use, it's bespoke, and more than that, it's specific to you. As you know, I'm one half of a double act. The other half is my wife, an esthetician, Henal, that you all know really well. She's worked alongside me since day one, since we started our clinics, and she's a skin specialist and facialist to all well-known celebrities. She knows skin inside out, but more than that, I needed her help because I wanted to know from a consumer's point of view, what does a product need to feel like? What does it even need to smell like? How does it feel on the skin, and how does it layer with makeup? And this is why from this brand, I needed her help to get all of those things exactly correct.
I think for several years I kept saying, oh, we should just do our own skincare.
And then I started formulating. I bought many books on formulation, and I started making up, well, basic formulations, right? I think we have a lot of patients in the clinic that have sensitive skin, like eczema, psoriasis, which I used on myself. And I just wanted to make a formula for myself, and I kind of had my at-home laboratory. And even then, it wasn't serious. I was just making it for myself. I can't remember. I think it was probably before COVID, way before COVID. End of 2018, that's when it was. And we're 2024 now. Right, so that's like 6 years ago is when we really started. And I started looking at different things that we could do, right?
Yeah, and even then, I mean, we didn't actually pursue it properly until I think around 2020.
Yeah.
When we went and we visited a formulator.
Yeah, so I mean, my concept always was that we wanted bespoke formulations, because that's what I was making for patients. I was putting different levels of ingredients in, mixing it up, and patients loved it. They thought, this is amazing because this is made for me. So I wanted to create a concept that was, you could edit and change. But that was really difficult to do as like one single product, because when we started speaking to formulators they said, look, this is so ahead of its time that you guys are going to have separate products. So I wanted one product where you could adjust the concentrations with different ingredients and use it in a specific time. But that concept maybe in the future.
Well, it was slightly too complicated at the time.
It was too complicated, as with pretty much everything. We want to take all the patients that have in the clinic that have troublesome skin, no matter what they've used, and we want to test certain ingredients on them to see whether that works. So we took the hardest patients to treat for things like acne, rosacea, pigmentation,
Eczema.
and eczema, anti-aging, all sensitive skin types. And we look specifically at different ingredients. And those ingredients that we've treated successfully in patients for more than a decade at Dr. Mehdi Spa clinics, those are the ingredients that are in the products. And one of the things that upset you was this concept of everyone day to day on the high street not being able to get doctor brands, right?
Well, I can literally count on one hand how many doctor-led brands there were out there. There are lots of cheap products out there with not very kind ingredients in there.
When you look at stuff on pack, and what really sort of upset me was that when you look at products and you see the keywords like retinol, like niacinamide, but then the quality of the niacinamide, like I found when I was formulating myself that there were different grades of quality.
Yes.
And I was like, look, this product says it's got everything in there, but it's poor quality. So we didn't want to create a brand that just had buzzwords just for the sake of it. We wanted to take specific skin conditions that people have and have the right ingredients for it. For example, you've got somebody that has acne. Now, most skincare products have anti-acne ingredients, so things that fight acne. So things that dry out the skin, reduce bacteria levels. And when I see patients in clinic, they said, I used to have acne, but I still got this redness post-acne.
Yes.
So I thought to myself, okay, we'll create an acne booster that will fight acne, but at the same time, it will reduce redness. Because that's what bugs people. They know that the spot is there, but what is more irritating is the redness you get afterwards, as well as sometimes even the pigmentation you get afterwards. And for example, our acne booster targets the acne, targets the redness, and targets the pigmentation. So from one product, you've got multitasking. And that's what I wanted to create, because most of the times I see in clinic when people are not happy with their skin is they've bought one right product,
Yes.
but they haven't paired it with the other things that they need to
And
do.
the good thing about our skincare range is that they all work together.
Yes, exactly.
And you know, say if we had 6 products, they will all work together. And it doesn't mean you have to use the 6 products. You can even use 2 of them. You can use 3 of them. You can make it as simple or complicated as you like.
Yeah, and the concept has always been through my travels. So my background as a clinical educator, I speak for a number of different aesthetic brands worldwide, and it's taken me throughout the world. And I've seen skincare throughout the world. And when I went to speak in Korea, I noticed that there was a concept of an essence and layering. So you've got a really highly concentrated booster, which you find in the range, and then over the top of that you've got a serum,
Yes.
and then you've got your creams. So you can layer it nicely. And that's when you came in and you said, well, look, if we're gonna create that brand, we want it to fit well with makeup, right?
Of course, that was a big thing for me because, I mean, for as long as I can remember, or since I started wearing makeup, it was always very important for me to use skincare products that sat well with my makeup. The last thing you want is for a product to literally dry your skin out and then to wear makeup on top of that, because it would just make you look caked.
Yeah.
And that's when you start getting the lines, and it makes you look like you've got wrinkles when you don't.
And you want that moisture as well, right? Because everywhere we have, people always say they have sensitive skin, but most of the time it's just a skin barrier. And everything in those ingredients, particularly with the signature serum, there's everything you need there for healthy skin. So we want skin to look nice, but the aim of the brand is skin health. So good skin health. So every ingredient in there is there to work and work together. But even if you wanted to, like you said, just use a cleanser, one serum and an SPF, you can still have good skin from it. In 2020, we had finished formulation.
Yes.
We were gonna launch, and I went and gave a conference about a new treatment, new delivery mechanism called exosomes. And I came back and I said, I've got some bad news to tell you. I'm gonna reformulate everything entirely. And that was at considerable cost to us.
Of course.
And I said, look, we cannot launch this range because our range was all about including very high strength ingredients, but delivering it almost like with skin drones. so that it doesn't damage the skin, and it's great for sensitive skin, because people that have sensitive skin, they use sensitive skincare brands that have not many actives in there at all that don't change your skin. And most people have sensitive skin.
Yeah.
So we wanted to introduce those active ingredients like the retinols, encapsulated retinols, like the vitamin C's that are stable and untouched before they hit the skin where they need it most. And therefore you get the power of the skincare, but without the irritation. And the exosomes was a great new technology. Because of the exosomes, we wanted to find a vitamin C based exosome, mainly because vitamin C, even in the best vitamin C serum, as you know, oxidizes.
Yes.
No matter how good the formulation is, no matter how stable, no matter what the even concentration, the bottle,
even if you keep it in a
airtight,
dark
all that
room,
sort of
all
stuff,
those, yeah.
we found through the years that after 20 days, it needs to be in the bin, okay? So I wanted to say to myself, well, I didn't want to put exosomes in there for the sake of it. I wanted to use the power of exosomes, which was preserving the quality, and put vitamin C, which is a superstar ingredient, even in our SPF. I didn't even want to put a serum called vitamin C serum because that's too simple. I wanted to be a little bit bolder and say, hey, we've got exosomal vitamin C in our SPF. So we went and we traveled to Asia. We ended up South Korea, we traveled Japan, we ended up in Jeju Island, and that's when we found the magic of the green tangerine exosomes, which are fantastic and the highest quality of vitamin C. When we formulated the charcoal cleanser, we realized there were so many different grades of quality.
Yes.
And in fact, we thought we had found the highest quality one, and then we found the Premier Binchatan clay, which is like beyond that. And that took ages to kind of find and buy as well, because I didn't realize about all of these minimum order quantities.
Yes, no.
Ordering like
that threw me.
10,000 units, timesing everything by 10,000. I was like, oh my God, I've got a lot of patience and I'm busy.
That's the most daunting part, I think, is when you get told the minimum order quantity and you were like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah,
you know.
and it was at that point that I realized why everybody brings out fairly average skincare brands.
Yeah.
Because anything that you want to do that's slightly out of the box, innovative, they're like, yeah, minimum order quantity has to be up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to come home at like 9 p.m, go to having gone to work at like 7, and then work from like 10 to 1 a.m. on the skincare, speaking to people around the world. We always wanted to make sure that we had it formulated in the UK, made in the UK.
Yeah.
And that was one important thing.
That was one of the most important factors of making the skincare.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the factory, speak to the formulator, formulate with the formulator,
Yeah.
go and see the processes in the factory, because I didn't want one thing to be wrong. And I must say, it took a lot out of me. I didn't realize it was going to take 6 years, essentially, to get it done. So many reformulations, and then once we found the ingredients and we mix it together, when you mix a number of ingredients together, that can cause issues as well, right? So we had to adjust the levels of things. Like we adjusted the levels in the charcoal clay cleanser almost 30 times, right?
We did. It took a long time to get
that perfect balance. And then the skin drone technology, we traveled to Europe to Spain, and then we brought that back and we put it in some of the skincare, and then just overnight they said,
it's discontinued.
We're being bought out and all of your ingredients are gone. Those are the kind of like decisions that we made, that we really thought about people that are using the product, and about what they would think and what the branding message was, because my concentration was just on the formulation and making sure it does exactly what it says. But then I guess your job was to make sure that the consumer likes it as well,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
When we first started, we pretty much had nothing when we started clinics. We started from one room. I obviously was doing it before we got married, and then you joined me, and it was like a double team, right?
Yeah.
And the clinics became extremely successful, winning like Best Clinic of the Year, I've won Best Aesthetic Doctor of the Year, all of the wins and accolades that you can have. And I thought it was the right time to start the skincare because it was another challenge, you know?
Yeah.
But the dynamics were different because a lot of the work on the skincare was like traveling, messaging between us two, emailing suppliers, doing all this sort of stuff. And we had more resources, but it was about trying to use those resources properly as well. So I think that, you know, probably the skincare it's been a tough journey for me because I feel like I've had like 4 jobs over the last
I feel like we've had
6
more
years.
than 4 jobs. You know, and in that time we expanded our clinics as well.
Yeah.
So we took on a lot more than we thought
Yeah, and
we could.
2 more children
Yeah.
in that process. We only had 1 child at the start.
We did.
So 3 children. Which I must admit, you've done a great job because I think being a mum is much more difficult than being a surgeon.
It's taken us a long time to build our brand, to build Dr. Medi Spa. And we felt that we got as far as we wanted to. I mean, it could still go further, but I felt that we wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, like I think it's about how you want to do stuff. Like some people want to have a small clinic. We wanted to have like a big super clinics. So it's much more difficult.
Well, I initially thought we would just have the 1 clinic.
Oh, I never thought that.
And then Munir, obviously, as he does, casually comes up to me and says, "Oh, should we get another clinic?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
And the next thing I knew, he had Marleybone, and he literally just, well, I had no choice.
Well, sometimes.
And it wasn't even a clinic, it was a hairdresser. I literally had to start everything from scratch. Munir was working in the Loughton clinic and the Harley Street clinic while I had to literally... I was pregnant, yeah, with my 2nd child. And he said, "Oh, we just need to make a few adjustments to it." A few adjustments meant that we actually ripped up the whole of the hair salon and I had to do it all again practically by myself.
Yeah, but I think that creating a skincare formulations from scratch is much more difficult.
Of course.
Most of the brands that you see with doctor-led brands, when you copy and paste the ingredients in to Google, you'll find that they're like what we call private label.
Yeah.
So companies will own a formulation and then you can basically put your name on it. It would have been way easier for me to do that. But I wanted to create my own bespoke formulations that no one else can basically copy. And I think that is where it's actually the most difficult thing. And now it's done. I don't even feel happy, I just feel relieved. And now I'm so excited to see the effects that we have on patient skin, how we can improve skin, and I really want us to see it flourish.
Yeah, I have to say I was pretty nervous about it, and like you said, I just feel relieved now that the formulations are done and we are ready to finally launch, and I'm excited to see where this journey is going to take us.
Thank you so much for joining. We're going to be doing an entire series on development of the skincare brand from concept to the final product, talking about all the different stages. So click that link to subscribe. Also tap that bell button as well because you'll be the first to know when videos come out.
Thank you for joining us, guys.